Today, we are working on this 2018 Nissan GTR. The owner just picked it up, so it's new to him, and the first thing he wanted to do was bring it in to get it properly washed, detailed, and protected with an application of Icon Rocklear. So we're gonna be walking you through the process of what it takes to get Rocklear applied to this legendary Japanese supercar. My name is Noah, I'm the founder and co-owner of Dragon Auto, and I'm here with
Jake. I'm one of the senior technicians here who works on all of the enthusiast cars. Let's make sure that we get this GTR looking right for this owner, and we're gonna go through with our first step.
So for the first step, the car is obviously very dirty and we need to get it clean. So we have our wash mitts here with a rinseless solution. And then we also have our pressurized sprayer keg. So I can get into all the nooks and crannies and crevices and rinse those out. We don't need a super fancy foam cannon and pressure washer set up for this. We have the rinseless wash solution, providing the right lubricity on the paint so that we don't scratch anything. And we're also trying to get it degreased, remove any previously installed waxes or sealants or ceramic spray-on products. So let's get started, Jake. So as I like saturate up the surface, kind of get it started, then we can go ahead and go over it with the wash mitts. The long microfibers of the wash mitts are just gonna help pick up all this dirt, lift it away from the surface. And then I have my bucket with the grit guard over here, so that way, after I finish a panel, I can go ahead and dunk it back in, rinse it off, get some fresh, clean water and soap.
One tip for washing cars, you always want to go in a sweeping motion and don't want to make circles. That way you prevent any swirls. So you just want to go in that long sweeping motion and kind of make your way down the panel.
I'd also like to preface this by saying that Rocklear prep is not traditional detailing. We are going to be doing a heavy cutting compound with machine polishers later in the process. And we don't have to be as delicate, since any small amount of marring, which is going to be introduced during like the clay bar stage, is going to be taken out with the heavy cutting compound. So this is our rinse bucket right here. It's going to rinse out some of the dirty water. I'm going to go over here to the soapy bucket so I can get some fresh soapy water, and then just keep doing my passes on these panels. Anytime there's cracks or crevices, nooks or crannies, I just want to blow it out real quick with the pressurized sprayer keg. For some of these grill areas as well, we can come back in with our detailing brush and get in there, but we like to do our cracks and crevices, nitty gritty places later after we hit it with the wash mitt first. So we just finished our hand wash, and then we're gonna start with the next part. We're gonna decontaminate the paint. So this is one of the OG clay bar manufacturers, the Auto Magic. This is their coarse grade clay bar. This is not something you do during traditional detailing. This is gonna leave a lot of marring on the surface. Our clay lube is gonna be our rinseless wash here, and we're gonna use this to get all the contamination out of the paint, because if we apply Rocklear over the contamination, it's just gonna seal it in permanently underneath. So we have to religiously clay this car all the way down, and we use this clay bar because, like I just mentioned, we gotta get it surgically clean for that application of Rocklear. But if you're watching this and you're not applying Rocklear, please do not use this clay bar as a part of your regular detailing routine.
One thing about white cars specifically is that all of the contamination is very visible. So all of the little bits of black dots and orange dots are really what you're trying to get out. So especially on white cars, it's super important to make sure you get all of it out, because it's way more apparent than like a black car or one with some color in it. So it's really important that we clay bar every single thing and make sure we visually inspect it after.
Right, so like right now, I'm going back and forth over the same spot over and over again, because I can see that there are black spots that are still in there, and it's requiring multiple passes with the clay bar to fully lift it out of the surface. So I just have to keep continuing going over it again until it feels and sounds smooth and I can visually see that there's nothing left. I think finally this frontal area that I'm doing here is almost completely clear. Normally the flat areas like the hood, the trunk, and the roof are the ones where just stuff from the environment will fall down and settle on into it, or the hood, of course, because you're driving the car, stuff's flying at it from this direction. So areas like the hood are typically the worst. I don't think other areas of the car are gonna be particularly as bad as this hood. And so far, this has only been one panel. We got plenty more to go. Considering this is a 2018 car though, there's gonna be more contamination than a brand new car. So now we just gotta finish doing this to the entire vehicle. So, after clay barring that hood, we inspected the rest of the car and we found out that there is a lot of contamination everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if the car has never been clay barred before once in the last 6 years. So, we like to work smart, not just hard here, and I actually have a synthetic clay disc on this forced rotation battery powered polisher. So, go ahead and have that spinning around. And what this is gonna do is help remove a lot of the strenuous, tedious action. We don't wanna get any physical injuries, sitting here doing this back and forth a million times on the car. We're gonna be here all night and it's gonna wear out our elbows and joints. That's not good for us. So I'm gonna be able to put this on the flat panels of the car on a low speed, let it roll around and remove most of the contamination. And then we do one final check over manually by hand, but that's gonna reduce the amount of strain that we're gonna have to put on our arms. So you might be wondering, why don't we just use this on every car that comes in? I feel like it's a little bit excessive. I don't mind spending time on the car, just like really trying to inspect and see everything up close. We only really like to bust this out when we actually see that there is a ton of contamination and the car has to be flat. If the car is too curvy, this doesn't really work that well, but we can see here we have some nice flat panels on the hood that this can actually adhere to nicely. And if it's a car that's been detailed or clayed before or a brand new car, it's really not that necessary because the clay bar step is not a whole lot of work, unless in this case, it was a little bit neglected and never detailed or clay barred before in the past. After a very tedious clay bar stage, the GTR is ready to move on to the compounding polish stage. You can see here, the paint is already looking way better. There are no signs of contamination left here in this, but we want to seal that in and make sure that the environment does not just get it all contaminated again. That's where the Rocklear comes in. To get it ready for application of Rocklear though, we need to use a special compound from Icon Rocklear. It's already been put into this bottle, so it's easy to dispense. But this is a compound direct from Rocklear themselves, made specifically to prep the surface for a proper application. So it is a heavy cutting abrasive compound, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some on the pad here. I've already primed some earlier before. The purpose of this compound is not for regular polishing. It is to remove any previous ceramic coatings, waxes, sealants. We want to strip all of that off the car. Plus there's this thing called road film. So believe it or not, there is pollution, oil, gas, all that kind of stuff is in the air, in the environment. And when cars are outside, it settles and it creates this invisible layer of film on the surface. This is to remove that and make sure that there is absolutely nothing left on the surface so Rocklear can just bond straight on there. If there's any contamination left, when we lay down the Rocklear, it will start splitting. So it'll get rejected from the surface and cause a bunch of streak marks and lines. It's gonna look really ugly. We're not gonna send a car out the door looking like that. So prep is key for a proper application. I'm just gonna go ahead and start polishing using this microfiber polishing pad, and we gotta do it to all the painted surfaces. So we finished the compounding stage and wiped everything off with our isopropyl alcohol wipe just to make sure there was no compound or polish residue left over on the car. The last stage before we can start laying down the Rocklear is we're gonna apply masking tape. So any surface that is not painted, we want to tape off. So for example, like these headlights here, I have to carefully feed in the tape to this area just to make sure that we're not gonna get any Rocklear on the headlights, because Rocklear has been designed and we prepped the painted surfaces. It's not designed for areas like plastic and a lot of rubber and plastic trim. Like over here, I'm gonna have to tape this off as well, or we're taping this off, we're taping off the window cowl area. These areas, we're gonna put a ceramic coating on that is designed to bond with those surfaces well. But for a lot of other surfaces, Rocklear will just end up looking streaky and ugly. It is meant for protecting the painted surfaces here. So the team has already started taping off a lot of areas, as you can see, like the glass and whatnot. As I was saying earlier, prep work is key because sure, I could leave this untaped, but while I'm applying Rocklear, there's likely gonna be some amount that gets onto the glass, and then we just gotta clean it all up afterwards. So when people are spray painting or body shop work is painting, you just wanna do the same thing and make sure all the prep is taped off, so that way we're not getting extra Rocklear in areas that we don't wanna get it on. So a nice little trick for pieces like this where the tape doesn't necessarily fit nice and evenly. I'm not gonna try and bend it to that bottom curve. I'm just gonna feed it into the top here and then cut that off at the back, rip that off at the back. And then I'm gonna press it down to find out where my body line is. I'm gonna take this X-Acto knife. I work with PPF, so I have PPF's knife skills. And you can just run a nice fresh sharp blade gently along the bottom of the body line here, and it should basically cut with no resistance. And then you can get all the way to the bottom there, just peel off the masking tape, and we have a nice clean cut there, and I can just tuck in the rest. So that's what we do sometimes whenever it is a curved tail light or some kind of badge or something. We just carefully cut using the X-Acto knife. Once again, very tedious that we have to precisely mask off everything, but that's why we get paid to do this. So all the masking tape has been applied to the GTR, and we've mixed our Rocklear here, left it to sit in the fridge. It's a 2-part mixture, so we gotta get the ratios just right, let it chill out for a little bit because it's best applied when cold. And I have 2 applicators here. Our flat applicator that we're gonna do for these main body panel surfaces here, and then this foam tip applicator that I'm gonna use to get inside all the nooks and crannies. Because this, you know, I can force it into these corners over here. It's just not ideal and advised. So instead I'm gonna use this to get into all these crevices here, all the badges, any of the areas like this with the headlights. We wanna make sure that we get the Rocklear into all of the cracks and crevices, so that way nothing on the exterior gets missed. So I'm gonna start off by applying it to the foam applicator tip first, then going over those crevices and corners. Then we're gonna hit it with the regular applicator afterwards. Now that the GTR has been completely coated with Icon Rocklear, check out how the paint's looking. It's basically almost brand new again, and it's gonna keep that shine for 15 more years. If you enjoyed this video and wanna see more, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, let us know what kind of videos you wanna see us post, since we're still figuring things out here on YouTube. And if you wanna see more cars getting Icon Rocklear applied to, click the videos on the screen now.